welcome to Werewolf Radar, the world's premier fart analyzation podcast. My name is Jordan Dahl.
I'm formerly known as Nate Balding.
And I am currently known as Nate Balding, but formerly known as Roger Norquist.
Today's Werewolf Radar is brought to you by Monstroco brand False Documents. Falsify your identity. Prove you were there. Legally adopt a friend or coworker. Do it today with False Documents by Monstroco. So the idea is just, if you're going to be using false documents, use these official Monstroco registered false documents.
I have been using them for a while now, and I have to say, I am soon going to adopt a 70-year-old man as my son.
Phil Collins.
You knew. I haven't been much of a secret keeper, have I?
Look, I'm sorry, but at some point they were going to find out, and I knew you weren't going to tell them. And I think we owe it to the Dark Council members to know that at least part of their Patreon money is being spent so that Roger can adopt Phil Collins.
I can't wait to get Phil on my lap and bounce him around.
Yeah. He keeps calling him his big baby drum boy. It's deeply upsetting, but he seems happy.
I'm so happy.
My favorite part is that Phil Collins doesn't get to decide whether or not he wants to be adopted.
No.
He can't do shit. I have fake documents saying I'm the goddamn king of England. What's he going to do about it?
Thanks to Monstroco False Documents. Check them out, folks. They do good work. And they keep records of every false document.
Got to keep track of your lies. That way you can keep on lying.
Keep on lying. Keep on lying.
Now, boys, I would like to go last because I'm going to end the episode with some spooky paranormal encounters.
Scary stories. Can you hear the spooky, loud bass music from outside my window?
I can hear the EDM, but I don't hear the bass in it. All I hear is...
I'll go first. I want to talk to you guys. Mine is going to be kind of loosey-goosey. Do you mind, Nate, if I loose it and goose it?
Boy, I think that our goose should be very loose.
Okay, great. I'll slide the speaking skull over here, and it goosed me. The goose-er has become the gander, or something. I'm going to introduce you guys to a series of words that surprised me recently.
But you're unsurprisable.
Big face behind the moon TikTok.
Big face behind the moon TikTok.
Now, see, I recognize all those words.
Yeah.
But
so
what do they do together?
Big face behind the moon TikTok is a thing that's been happening on TikTok recently that's been taking stupid people by storm. I'm going to get out in front of this one and just say I don't think big face behind the moon is real. But it's been really stirring up some waves in the paranormal community of gullible people. Not stupid, gullible, trusting, sweet.
People believing something that makes their world better for them.
Well, it wouldn't make it better. It would make it really scary. Okay, let's dig into it. So this is a post from 7 months ago on the Too Afraid to Ask subreddit. And this is Yapping Away 6423. And they ask, is the giant face behind the moon real?
So they weren't too afraid to ask.
Right, truly. There's a few videos.
Yeah, that whole subreddit's full of hypocrites, if we're going to be honest.
I think the idea of the subreddit is that there's like no dumb questions.
Yeah.
You can ask whatever you want. And it's like a ridicule-free zone.
No judgments here. If you got a question, please ask.
This just feels like 4chan all over again.
There's a few videos circulating online from multiple different people, says Yapping Away 6423, that show a giant face with a crack on its skull that's similar to the caricature of a Greek god peering from behind the moon, looking down at humanity with what appears to be an intensely determined and judging facial expression. Sounds impossible. Obviously, this goes against the laws of physics, but laws of physics are the tip of the iceberg of what this goes against. But when you see a literal giant face behind the moon, you have to kind of throw logic out of the question. According to the others, sometimes it appears, then disappears randomly, but it has just stayed there for a couple days. Barely anybody is talking about it. There have been a few people who have claimed they've witnessed this in person way before the videos came out. Is this real? I'm kind of nervous. Some people can see it, but others can't. The reason I'm too afraid to ask is because after researching, I'm concerned it's not fake.
Where's this video?
So, Roger, if
you
if
have
I
the
may,
ability to share, I have a question to where how have people experienced the backside of the moon? Like, is this a post full of just NASA?
They're in Squatty the Potty, my friend.
Yeah, John Glenn is the only poster.
Can you see this?
We can see it. We can see that your mouse is just a boring normal mouse instead of
What
the
is
Werewolf
yours?
Radar one I try to provide you.
What? There's a
It's that
Werewolf
one that
Radar
screams
mouse
at you?
pointer? Oh. We should make a Werewolf Radar mouse pointer.
I actually don't. I know it's possible, but it's way
Pretty sure it's
beyond
possible.
my programming skills at this moment.
So we're gonna watch some Moon Giant TikToks.
I like it.
This is Moon crossing an enigmatic ice wall. I don't know what that's about. That's not it.
They're at the very edge of our flat Earth. Where's my flatty?
This is some other shit. I lost Necrophil from the Dark Council room.
Night 2024, and this man goes outside and he zooms in right by the moon, and you can only imagine what he catches. There is some kind of titan or ginormous, enormous face that's right by the moon. Eyebrows, nose, eyes, forehead.
Hey, he's got a unibrow like me.
Still catching this giant face by the moon. Look. It looks like some kind of sculpture or something. And then, recently somebody just caught another ginormous face by the moon. Can somebody explain what's going on? Some are calling the Project BB. Some are saying the old gods have returned. Only thing I know is we seen strange, huge, ginormous humanoid faces in the sky, and did it just blink behind me? I know for a fact I did not just see this giant face take a blink.
Did it blink?
Blink behind me.
I'm
I know for a
relatively
fact
sure
that I just see this giant face take a blink.
initial thing was Uatu the Watcher.
What y'all think about these titans?
Yeah. Big Uatu vibes. A giant face behind the moon, meaning there are other ones.
This was deep. There's a lot of things on it.
Yeah. Giant face behind the moon TikTok is a whole thing. This is a different video, I think. Yeah, this is a different angle.
I mean, this could be a number of things as someone who does video work and messes with your Adobe programs. It's
people all over the world last night captured faces by the moon.
Simple enough to fake, you know.
The videos you're about to see are going to blow your mind. All I got to say is, give me what you got.
First of all, that's the most intense kindergarten I've ever seen.
You gotta see this.
Is this a watcher?
You gotta see this. Okay, from the naked eye, there's nothing but the moon in that street light. But when I zoom in, look next to the moon.
People who have been watching this video.
That one looks...
So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead.
That one looks a lot more sinister for sure in the little
Yeah, that one
picture.
looked like reptilian or something.
What? Definite face, and the moon looks like it's some stuff that's coming off of the moon. And zoom in, there he is.
So this is multiple.
Oh, that
videos
one's
on
just
December
fun.
4th,
Yeah, that one's definitely just clouds. I'm sorry on that one. The other one's got some spook to it, but that last one was just clouds.
So now you know about giant face behind the moon TikTok. You can flip through them all day. You'll see different interpretations. You'll see different pictures. You'll see different versions of a kid sitting in front of a video describing what's happening in the video for additional likes. My question to you, and I think the question that our yapping away 6423 had, is the face behind the moon real, guys?
I don't want to say it is a Titan because of what happened during the Titanomachy.
Ah, yes.
The Battle of Titans. I believe that's when Uranus was eating a bunch of his children.
Sure.
And then Kronos was all like, "No, Daddy, do not eat me."
No.
And then Kronos decided to eat his children. And then Zeus was all like, "No, Daddy."
Yeah. And round they went.
That's why it's okay for you to eat your children, listeners. It's in ancient mythology.
Interesting, fresh take.
In terms of the faces, one was definitely a cloud.
Yeah.
The other ones, I don't want to say they're editing their videos to throw weird artifacts in there for the views.
But they're editing their videos to throw weird artifacts in there for the views.
But there's some weird artifacts there. I thought it was actually on the moon, not an entity next to the moon. It kind of gave me some goosebumps.
Yeah, some of it's very eerie. There's something about the way the people are reacting to it that makes it feel like they're actually seeing it. But, that's what acting is about. But, obviously the answer is no. It's okay, everyone. That's video processing. That's video processing, right? Right, guys?
Right? I need someone to agree with us. Can
we all agree on that?
It's fake.
It's fake right now?
I don't know. No one has proven it scientifically, if you will.
Okay,
on the more believing side, to where no, this isn't a cloud. Let me debunk the debunkers and go here's why it's not a cloud. Or is it just a bunch of people going, what is this? I'm new to moon talk.
So let's say that this is real.
Okay.
In the world where this is real, in the episode of Fringe where this is real, what's going on?
Well, I think Pacey's father.
Okay.
In the other dimension, if you followed season 2, summon the Titans, if you will. I think it could be, what was that dude you just said? The Watcher dude. What was his name, Nate? I think it's one of the Uatu.
Uatu, the Watcher.
I think he's watching. No, I don't. I think it's video processing. But if it is real, I think, that's a huge ass entity. That's like a celestial style entity up there.
Yeah,
it's huge.
That's if anything shows up that has a moon-sized face,
that's trouble.
And we don't all immediately start worshiping it, then it's not real.
I think this is exactly what that episode of Rick and Morty is about, with the "show me what you got" heads.
Right.
Immediately start worshiping it.
Shifty episode or whatever.
Also,
yes, where they got got shifty.
Let's take this scientifically.
Yeah.
Okay. Would a creature that size not have weird gravitational pulls we would feel?
It would absolutely have gravitational pulls.
Yes.
The tides would be larger.
The tides would go nuts. Unless, of course, what we're witnessing is, so imagine we go down with microscopes, down, we can see electrons, we can see, oh, look at that, we can see a proton. Can you imagine that? And then, microscopes get better and better, and we go further and further in. We can see, little particles within that proton, and what's beyond this electrical field. Oh my God, it's an entire universe with people living in it. We can look through that universe, through eons of technology. We can gaze down onto one of the planets and see what existence is like there. Might this not be what that would look like?
That's a very good thought experiment.
To those people?
If so,
and I guess the answer is probably no.
may I suggest that scientist have some candy because you look very upset.
Have some candy. Maybe he's just grappling with the fact that he just discovered a tiny world.
His mind is being blown. That was my favorite part of the end of Men in Black, the first one, when we realized that the galaxy that the cat is holding is in fact another galaxy, and then all the galaxies are part of another universe that's playing marbles with them.
Yes, yes, yes. My favorite part was
when his skin's kind of loose.
Here Come the Men in Black, when the worms did a dance.
Yeah, they danced with the alien.
It's what Whitley Strieber would have done.
Nope, now you're confusing the original sample with the new sample.
Okay, well, look, I'm doing what I can.
You're doing great work. I do like that thought experiment, though, to where if this is real, is it something that is even to be scared of? Is it just a scientist looking in and going, neat?
Yeah, or, what if it's a sorcerer using some kind of viewing spell to search for someone on the world? Or what if it's Professor Xavier using Cerebro to find all of the mutants? This might be what that would look like. Point is, no, it's not. It's okay, guys. But check out Giant Head Face Behind the Moon TikTok if you want a weird time. It's one of those things that's so insanely stupid on the surface, and the more you kind of dig into it, the more you're like, wait a minute. Am I gonna have to make a post on the Afraid to Ask subreddit?
The answer is yes. Mm-hmm. I found that post on there, and here's one. Oh, I'm on my Reddit thing. Wrong one. I was like, a witch is saying some crazy stuff, and then I looked up and I was on the wrong page.
Witches always have the best takes.
One person says,
we should
though,
poison them and turn them into skeletons.
It's a flashlight, not the moon. A mask next to the light across the street or something. Occam's razor, people. Occam's razor.
Occam's razor.
And at that point, is that Occam's razor? We're adding a lot of extra shit here. It could just be...
I didn't realize Occam was that huge.
Dude, Occam's huge.
That's all, dude. It's Occam! Anyway, that does it for my segment that I'm calling Show Me What You Got.
Show me what you got, Nate. Now.
Also, Giant Face Behind the Moon, if you're listening, as I assume you are, say something. Text us or something. Don't be weird.
Here's a post from that one that you shared, Jordan, that I really enjoy. This is from Fantastic Repeat 516. I worry for the people who don't believe it's real and surprised that so many people are still so blind. Year after year, how many times did we call it a conspiracy theory and crazy? But then the government has to eventually come clean. MK Ultra is real. Then aliens were just fiction. Now they fessed up.
Is it the government?
I don't think this is the government.
You don't think it's the government up there?
No.
Look out! The government!
I believe in conspiracy theories, but I believe they are a product of government ineptitude. Like the JFK assassination, the Secret Service cover-up for that is because they blasted his head off.
They beefed it. Yeah, I've heard that.
The forensics is all there. So Oswald takes the 2 shots, hits the president. The third one, as far as we can track,
didn't even take 2 shots.
No, he was dead on the first one for sure, or dying. But the third one that blows his brain out, it was in theory done from a junior Secret Service
hungover, Secret Service guy.
And then they hide it because oopsies, we killed the president.
Oh shit! Oh, did we kill the president just there? I didn't do it. That guy did it. The guy in look at him. He's an anarchist or something.
Maybe it was Babushka Lady.
Maybe it was
you should check out that.
Maybe we should harass her for her video.
It wasn't me. It wasn't me at all.
It wasn't me, and it wasn't Taylor. Right, Taylor? Yeah. Wasn't either of us. We didn't do it.
Anyway, we never found his body. It kept driving off. That's my other favorite theory on JFK. He just kept driving.
Now, I mean, I don't want to get too deep into this whole thing, but
I don't know that he kept driving.
No, he jumped in the driver's seat, kept driving.
I don't want to get too deep into that whole thing, but they did. When they put him on a plane after the assassination, his brain disappeared.
Yeah.
When the plane landed, they were like, "We lost his brain." Did any of you guys see the brain? Taylor, did you see the brain? I didn't see the brain.
Yeah.
Fictional CIA agent I've made up. Who's just there for all of it, patching up the holes.
Oh, I think Smith Taylor is definitely a real guy.
Yeah, Smith Taylor,
Who
Agent Smith
stole
Taylor.
JFK's brain.
Agent Smythe Taylor.
Now,
what is that in your pocket?
We are
it's not brains.
We're in super tangent mode now, but we're there as the Secret Service. JFK's just been shot. Do you take a little bit of his skull as a souvenir? No one's going to notice.
Okay, listen. Okay, look. If a little bit happened to get on my coat, and a little later I was cleaning the coat and found it, would I pop it in an old Smucker's jar? Probably. But mainly I would do it because I'd be like, oh, you know who's probably going to want that? The government. And then when they didn't come looking for it, I'd be like, guess I just have this now.
You're not trying to profit off of it. You're just trying to show your grandkids.
Absolutely. They need to know the truth of what happened and how that's a piece of the president's skull. Sure, you can poke it. I poke it all the time.
This is the piece of skull I'm going to use to put on my wife's wedding.
Okay. That really got me. Baby, I can't say it. Baby.
She might be in the room.
Baby, I'd lose my head if it wasn't for you. Okay, somebody take skull away from me, please.
Okay, I'll gather up the grounds of the Shana speaking skull and talk a little bit about some of Portland's terrifying cryptids.
Portland's many cryptids.
You mean there's enough that we can build a ranking system?
No, there's not.
Are they all particularly Portlandy? Are they like the woman who uses plastic bags still?
The bassist from Slater Kenny.
A guy selling homemade vapes out of a van. Don't buy 'em.
The drummer of Slater Kenny.
We need a new segment now.
Fred Armisen.
The macrobiotic burrito. Okay.
All right, so this first one, and it's going to be a couple of them. The Haunted Chicken Cart.
Nice. S tier already.
Fuck yeah. That rocks. Not what I was expecting.
It starts out talking a little bit about Baba Yaga, which I don't think we need to cover.
For the one person listening who doesn't know.
Yeah.
Tits. Huge, saggy tits.
Shout out Baba. Shout out Yaga. That's the name of them.
It does go on to say, perhaps one of Baba Yaga's most distinctive qualities is her hut, which stands on 2 long chicken legs.
Oh.
It is something unique. You come across that in rural Slavic land, you're in for a good time.
It might sound absurd, but reports of a Baba Yaga-like figure in Portland date as far back as the mid-20th century.
What?
That's too modern for this to be cited like this. I love it.
When Oregon was enjoying both an economic and population boom. So this is like the 90s.
Yeah, it kind of rips, right?
Tales of a strange, haggard woman hovering and chanting in dark alleyways, and her wet, throaty cackle were common at this time.
This is incredible.
Oddly enough, the modern local version of this tale puts the infamous witch in a food cart rather than a hut.
I love it.
Ironically, in most collected stories, the surviving teller is insistent that the cart serves fried chicken exclusively.
Interesting.
I love this, and I love Baba Yaga's turn towards legitimate food sales.
She's going legit.
She's a chef. I mean, she cooked all those kids.
Absolutely. People forget that.
Those who have been lucky enough to order say the chicken is either succulent or simultaneously undercooked and burnt.
That's a unique thing right there.
Yeah, that also feels like that's the kind of chicken I would expect to get from a Baba Yaga restaurant. Sorry. Don't mean to insult the Baba.
The problem is that your oil's too hot.
That makes sense. Well, she's she's used to cooking kids. She's just getting her getting this underway.
The quality really depends on how customers treat Baba Yaga, but seems dependent on her whims. There's no agreed upon location of the cart. It's prone to disappearing at will, or, and this is hilarious, lumbering away after an order has been doled out.
Yeah, on his chicken legs, I presume, right?
This is the most Portland-style food cart I've ever heard of. Straight up.
Truly. Fitting right
There's
in.
no location, not even a Facebook for messages on where they're located. And then one order, and then they got to go off to their next corner.
Run by a witch.
And I'm 100% sure that I've eaten there.
100% sure I would.
Oh, yeah, I would seek this out.
Well, if you're in North Portland.
I'm not.
I am not, yeah.
What have you heard?
This next one is the Willamette Big Brown Beaver.
Okay.
I've heard of Big Brown, actually.
So this is an abnormally large and uncharacteristically aggressive beaver that has stalked the Willamette River, according to the article, as long as memory permits.
Ooh.
6 months for me.
Due to the medication.
Yeah.
The first Big Brown sighting was reported in the late 1940s when the Willamette Valley Project was first getting underway. Prior to that project, the river was prone to flooding. The Willamette Valley Project aimed to tame flooding with 13 strategically placed dams. Unfortunately, in tampering with the natural flow of the river, the workers awoke something named Big Brown.
This sounds like a kaiju story, and I love it.
Soon after construction on one of the dams began, so did the attacks. Workers, many of whom were members of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, were driven from their posts by, quote, a big brown beaver with red eyes, all wily and gnashing.
Whoa.
After the third death,
What?
a team of dam workers and concerned citizens set out to hunt the creature. Word of the death had spread, and over 200 people helped patrol the Willamette. There was no sign of Big Brown, but the attacks continued. 4 months after the project began, key areas of the river were dynamited. The attacks ceased after the dam construction.
The dam construction.
The dam construction. Seemingly after they blew up a bunch of dams.
I see.
However, this is not the end of Big Brown's story.
Oh.
No body was recovered, and there are still sightings to this day of a giant beaver sunning itself on the shores of Collins Beach.
What?
Close to what is believed to be its home.
But it would be
also
so old.
in North Portland.
It's gotta be a son.
Yeah.
Son of Big Brown.
Son of Big Brown. Some sort of ancient megaphonic beaver that has persisted.
I could believe it. Nate, you know more than me, but are the woods pretty thick up there still?
Yes.
And are they filled with megaphonic beavers?
Yes.
Oh, well then, I guess this is an S-Class one as well. If you're real, S-Class immediately.
Furthermore, do you remember that Primus song? Winona had herself a big brown beaver.
That's what I was thinking the entire time.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good tune. That's insane. I love it.
Speaking of bands that I don't really care for.
Yeah, Primus sucks, but you don't mean it ironically.
This final one is the Fred Durst of Laurelhurst Park. Which I do want to point out is a beautiful park. I lived 1 block away from it for a long time.
Okay. Did you ever see the Fred Durst?
I never saw Fred Durst. And thank Christ.
Could you imagine? Sounds terrifying.
He seems both intense and nice.
Yeah.
But
hey man, if you want half of a tuna salad sandwich, I can't eat the whole thing.
He also has an autobiographical movie that he wrote. Yes. It's not a true autobiography, but it is written. So he wrote the movie The Fanatic, starring John Travolta. And it is about a stalker experience that he had.
Yes, I do remember this.
And it makes it seem like he was such a dick to this stalker fan that he feared for his life for a short time.
Whoa.
Long story short, John Travolta gets stabbed in the eye with a knife. Hilarious. Hilarious. The first line in the movie is, "Can't talk, gotta poop."
Come on.
See, that just makes it sound incredible.
It's a very good, it's so bad it's good type.
Yes, the Roger special.
Yeah, it's the only things I watch.
Yes, I understand.
Well, this tale begins on October 16th, 1999.
Oh, that's the year the Woodstock happened.
Oh. But you might also remember that it was the Family Values tour.
Yes, I do remember that.
I do, with Korn.
It was Korn
and
Filter,
Creed,
Redman, Method Man.
Wait, what?
Limp Bizkit.
I would have gone to that to see Redman and Method Man, and then skip everyone else.
I would have gone for some of this Korn you're talking about.
What is it? Creamed? Cobb?
What a dumb name for a band. That's what you want to call it. Korn? Yeah, but with a K.
Sometimes the K's backwards.
No, the R is backwards.
Oh.
That is the dumbest shit I've ever heard. Make it happen. Make it so.
The story goes that after the Portland show concluded, Durst wanted to see more of the city.
Sure.
His local handlers showed Durst and his entourage several notable Portland locales.
Dude, I would do that if I was big famous on tour, to be like, now, do you mind showing me some of your fun haunted hotspots?
True.
I mean, why not?
Yeah, that would be sick.
But for some reason, the tour ended at Laurelhurst Park.
And here's our park.
The park was once home to the Portland Rose Festival Queen's coronation event, and the main event itself was once hosted on the park's pond. Discontinued in 1921 due to a scandal involving poor float construction that resulted in a drowning death.
Like that one drowning death that happened at that CrossFit festival / competition.
Yeah.
Never make swimming the second or third event in your triathlon. Swimming goes first for a reason.
Yikes.
I would even go so far as to say, don't have a triathlon. That's too many things. Since then, the park's shallow pond has possessed a grim history, not the least of which being apparition sightings and reports of reflections that move autonomously on the water's surface.
Ooh, spooky. I hate it. I hate the idea of a mirror image moving without you or something.
Yeah, that's spooky. Oh, and furthermore, if it's a mirror image of Fred Durst.
Ooh.
Oh.
I have seen the Dursts that lurk within the hearts of men.
He hasn't left.
He's still there. That's why there hasn't been a lot of new Limp Bizkit albums.
Apparently, he has been sighted numerous times since this, floating hazily in the early morning fog.
What?
And in various photographs.
What?
Several of which feature tribal tattoos.
Whoa! Can we see some pictures of the Durst?
I'm gonna go look them up right now, see if I can find them.
Please
What
do.
is it? The Fred Durst of
Laurelhurst Park.
Laurelhurst Park. Wow. I left my Durst in Portland.
Did you already find one?
Yeah, then he lost it.
But yeah, apparently Fred Durst also lost his image in the pond in a park.
The Dursthurst.
Is this one of those things? I'm getting caught up on old television shows I should have watched 20 years ago. Is this one of those Avatar: The Last Airbender type things to where you make an expression and it steals your face?
Oh.
I don't believe that is a TV show or 20 years old, but
oh geez, I hope
yes.
not. I hope it's not that. That sounds spooky.
Yeah, one of the creatures on there, I can't remember its name. It's in the whole episode, but it's if you make an expression, it steals your face, and then you got to deal with that.
What do you have instead of a face?
Oh, you still have your face, but now the creature's got your face, which is what this sounds like.
Interesting. Carry on.
Yeah, I said that wrong. It doesn't rip your face off. It just mimics your face.
Right. How do I look?
Well, you look like one.
What has is there? I don't want to see Fred Durst. I had a lot of thoughts going around my head. That would be frightening.
Yeah, it would.
Because I would assume he wants me to say how great his band was, and I'm not a Limp Bizkit fan.
Yeah, that's gonna be a long pause from me, dog.
Anyway, that's the Portland segment. I'm trying to think of fun pun, but
Segmentia.
it's not coming.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Portland, stay for the Yaga Baba chicken. Leave because Fred Durst is running at you.
Yeah. Unless you're thirsting for a Durstin.
Thirsting for Durstin. Some people still are. I hear
thirsting
people
for
like
Durstin
his music
with a side of chicken fries. He loves chicken fries.
Who doesn't? Then may I take the skull and wrap up this episode with spooky ghost.
Spook us out.
Not ghost,
dog.
even paranormal encounters from Reddit.
Freak us out, G. The scariest website. That's not true.
Nah, it's still horror.com, which I'm going to go to right now. So just thought of it. Oh, it's reviews for horror films.
Okay, well, you want to get away from there as fast as possible.
If you're interested in what they think about with the Halloween countdown of 2012's top 10 horror films, I don't think this has been updated in a while. The copyright is 2009.
And they were still doing 2012.
So I was scoping the Reddit for some encounters that have happened to people.
Scoping Reddit, looking for babes.
All these come from our paranormal encounters. Let's go with the first one, a nice short and sweet one from Glitter Gatorator. A friend and I saw each other, but it wasn't us.
Oh. Ooh.
My best friend spent the night with me because we both had too much to drink. I have a 2-story home, and my friend slept on the couch on the main level, and I slept in my bedroom on the second level. My staircase leads from the first floor to the second. The next morning, I got up to use the bathroom on the second level. As I walked to the bathroom, I saw my friend standing at attention at the bottom of the steps leading up to the second floor.
Strange.
Now, when they say at attention,
I think upright, hands to the side.
I see.
Staring forward.
So it's not about a dick.
Yeah, no. Maybe.
I think in this one instance, it's not about a dick.
Yes. But don't throw that out with the water. Keep that maybe
the dick
it
out
works.
with the bath water.
Anyone else's dick falling off while you take a bath?
I take it off.
Makes it easier to clean.
Yeah, exactly.
I took a few steps back to look at her to see if she needed anything, but then she was not there. That morning, I jokingly said to her that I thought she was at the bottom of the steps. She relayed to me that she also saw me in that same position, yet she saw the back of me facing up the stairs. When she went to double check if I was there, she did not see me anymore.
Well, that's pretty spooky.
She saw me in the same clothes that I was wearing that night, and I saw her in the same way. We both saw each other in the same position, yet she saw the back of me and I saw the front of her. She saw the entity from the couch while the writer saw it from the top of the stairs.
Weird.
Now, question for us. Can you explain this phenomenon?
Well, no, but I had the same thing happen to me, as you know.
Your brother, right?
Yeah, I saw my brother.
With Liam.
I can't explain it. The best I've come up with is that this is some sort of entity that wants something really badly from, the family in some way. They want attention. They want to feel alive. They want something. They want to scare you, maybe. And the best way to do that is for them to, or maybe it's the opposite. Maybe it's something that doesn't want to scare you. And so it's trying to look like someone you trust in order to gain that trust, or perhaps just, sneak by. Maybe they don't even want you to look at them and they're like, oh shit, I got caught. I better look like this thing they recognize.
Oh shit, I got caught up there. One half is the other, the back half's the other person. Go.
Yeah.
That would track with the entity facing away from you.
Yeah.
Like, they're not trying to completely with you.
Right.
But they want you to know they're there.
Yeah.
And they said it happened around 6 a.m.
6 a.m.
Yeah. Small town built in the 80s, but the town was established in 1854. So there's some history to it.
Okay.
And that's the first story. I hope your goosebumps got wetted there.
My bumps have been thoroughly goosed.
The second story that I found very interesting was I met the Watford vampire.
Okay.
From Marion Barry, number 1809.
Marion Barry.
Marion Barry.
Number 1809.
Okay, so not the first Marion Barry.
No, one of the later ones in the bustle bag container batch. If you know anything about Marion Barry harvesting, let us know.
Okay. You're talking about the Barry. I understand.
Oh, what are you talking about?
There's the mayor of New York, Marion Barry. He famously smoked crack.
What was
dude?
DC?
I forget about him because all I remember, is DC one. But Canada is not without their own crack smoking mayors.
Yes.
The former mayor of Toronto also enjoyed some rock.
Truth.
They've seen some stuff.
And honestly, who doesn't at Christmas?
I've smoked crack once. It was in a cartridge. They put all sorts of shit in cartridges.
Really? It was in a cartridge? That's so funny.
Some coworkers of mine in a former establishment, I'm not going to say, were like, hey, Roger, hit this cartridge. And I was like, this isn't pot.
Yeah.
This is a funner drug.
Yeah, I smoked crack one time.
Now you say cartridge, but this looks like a light bulb.
Whenever I tell people that, they're like, oh, what was it like? And then I get to do that line from that Mr. Show sketch. It's great. It's crack. It gets you real high.
I got really high, for being honest. Well, time seemed to skip forward.
Yeah.
And nobody was wrong about that.
And you're like, oh, I could see how someone would lose their entire life to that. And then you stay away from it.
So we're going to head down to Earth a little bit and now talk about this Watford vampire experience. I didn't look up what the Watford vampire is. It seems like it might be something I do a future segment on. Once again, this is posted by a Marion Barry, but I don't think they're the original poster.
Can't imagine it's
kind of
a Marion Barry.
Yeah, it's copied and as the post is, instead of it being written, it's a copy of another Reddit post, but without the username.
I understand.
I'm so glad I came across this subreddit because I am convinced that I met the Watford vampire. A month ago, and this post was from 2 months ago, so fairly recently, I had this weird experience that I've posted about, but I'll basically summarize it here. I am a 22F,
female.
Whatever that. Oh, that makes more sense than what I was thinking. I was thinking Faye. I'm from.
That's why we love you, Roger.
I'm from
Could go
Watford.
either way.
And I met this guy at a pub. He had long white blonde hair, a slightly pointed nose, and looked like a guy in his early 30s. His voice was smooth and hypnotic, and he had some sort of European accent.
And he was drinking, get this, blood.
I remember that he never mentioned his name, but at the time, I didn't really think about it or realize it was strange.
My name? I don't drink wine. What? That's not what I asked.
We spoke for some time, but I don't remember even a single topic that we spoke about. That night, I dreamt of him along the dark corridors, the whispering voices. Everything was so vivid.
Spooky.
I woke up with such a huge desire to take a walk and found myself that evening at the cemetery on Vicarage Road.
Interesting.
It was very dark, but luckily not so cold out, yet somehow I felt compelled to go there, like I was drawn. As I walked through the cemetery, he appeared again. He just stood there as if standing in a cemetery at midnight is a normal thing in this world.
It's a vampire, homie.
The next thing about him that turned my blood cold was his smile. Yet for some reason, I went towards him. We talked.
Yeah, you got vampired.
We talked for a couple of minutes, and once again, I have no memory of the conversation. It's all just a blur. And after a couple minutes, I got this gut-wrenching feeling that I needed to leave, so I made an excuse and left.
I need to scram.
Something about him.
Sorry, gotta poop.
Something about him doesn't seem quite right. Like he isn't quite a person. I have been reading accounts of this guy all over the internet, all similar, and it made me realize that I encountered the Watford vampire.
Dun, dun, dun.
Something else even reached out to me saying someone else even reached out to me saying that they had met him. There is stuff about this guy going all the way back to the 1980s with the same description. I've not been back to the cemetery, but I have dreamt about him several times. Dreamed about him? Dreamt? One of them's a hypercorrection. The other one's correct. You be the judge.
I believe it's drumped.
I have dreamt about him. Yeah, that feels right. But I have dreamt about him several times, with each drump more vivid than the last. And there it ends. Now, the last one is a little bit longer, but I really enjoyed it, and it is freaky, boys. I had a run-in while stargazing.
Oh, boy.
So I'm shaking and panicking uncontrollably. This is written in the moment 8 hours ago. So this started happening about 4 hours ago, and I finally gotten home, so I want to write about it while it is still fresh. To give you a complete rundown, I live in Ontario, Canada, close to Toronto. Speaking of crack towns, shout out Toronto.
Shout out.
I heard on the news that tonight there would be a chance to see the Northern Lights. This past May, I went and saw them and wanted to take the opportunity to see them again. Last May, I went with a couple buddies.
They played a great game.
I went with a couple buddies, but no one was available this time. The plan was to drive 4 hours to Algonquin Park, hike in the middle of the forest, make a campfire, smoke some Marlboros, and drive back after stargazing.
Okay.
I end up driving about 2 hours there before my friend sends me a text showing that there's no real forecast for the Northern Lights. But as I'm
such a wild plan to be like, let's go to the park and smoke.
It's such an oddly Canadian plan. Let's go smoke some Marlboros, get some chicken chips.
I would believe it more so, or I believed it was more of a, what is that one, Alberta thing. But I can see the people of Ontario doing it as well. I end up driving 2 hours.
I've lived in Alberta.
Yeah.
So I can tell you, yeah, they're going to the park to smoke.
So there was no real forecast, but they decided to go anyway as they're halfway there. I drive up another hour, and at this point, it's about 11 p.m. in the middle of nowhere. No signs of human life other than the road in the pitch black. I was on a call with my buddy since it was pretty boring driving up, and I started mentioning how beautiful the stars looked. My buddy then recommended that I pull over and take some pictures to send. By buddy, do you mean lover?
Yeah, he then said we should kiss a little bit just to see what it felt like.
I think they should kiss a little bit. It's teasing if not now.
What did you think they meant by going to the park to smoke?
Fair. I end up pulling over, turning off all the lights in my car, still leaving it running, and standing beside the forest. For about 5 minutes, everything was fine as I was admiring the stars, gushing to him about it. Right about that time, the forest went completely silent. There was literally zero sounds other than the wind in the tree.
There's a monster nearby.
Get
out there, you teens.
I immediately felt like something was wrong and went to grab my flashlight to see if there was a bear or something. I walked a little bit into the woods and turned on my flashlight. I would have done that the other way around and not have walked into the woods, but that's fine. We're all different. I end up hearing a rustling noise and turned around until I see this thing standing on its hind legs with a bright orange-red glow to its eyes.
That's always the weirdest part. That's always the part that I'm like, no. But it's so often that people report it that you got to be like, what is that?
And we've looked at pictures. This is a common eye shine that things can have. Like some things do have red eye shine, but regardless,
nothing has glowing red eyes.
That's fair. They did not say a shine. This said a bright orange glow.
Anyway.
It was about 50 meters away.
Almost weirder.
I start mentioning what I'm seeing to my buddy when all of a sudden my signal goes dead before I stare at it for a second. And then it starts sprinting at me full speed. I immediately go into fight or flight and dash to my car, going in and redlining it until I'm doing 300 kilometers per hour.
Oh, kilometers.
We're going to need a 300 kilometers.
It's 130 miles an hour.
No. 186 miles per hour.
Oh, shit.
What type of car do you have?
Well, you have one of those Canadian Chevrolets.
I'm usually a pretty casual guy and not spooked by much, but I was shaking, crying, and sobbing, trying to run away as fast as I could.
Wild.
Before anyone says before anyone says anything, this was not a bear or anything similar. I start spam calling everyone and anyone I can get a hold of, my best friend, and apparently they got a hold of their best friend and start crying and sobbing about what happened while freaking out. At this point, he just wants to check in to see if I'm doing okay and whatnot. I start describing to him what I saw, and I use the name of a subreddit that I don't want to say in the text. I think we all know what type of creature this might be. Mm-hmm. I'm going Wendigo.
Pale crawler.
One moment.
They're often called. Oh, no sooner had he said the word.
An escapee.
Don't worry, it's not a burglar.
Okay, good. Is it a burger?
It's a Burgermeister.
Ooh, yum.
So I start describing to him what I saw and use this name of the subreddit that I don't even want to say in text to describe what I saw. It was super unnatural looking. It was a super unnatural looking thing, and it had really spooked me. Right around here is when I feel all the muscles in my body start to become sore and cramping up. It turned out that I had initially dashed to my car. I basically output all the force I could to get away. I'm an ex-rugby player, power lifter, so my instincts were forcibly making me get out as fast as possible. I can see you probably pulled a muscle or 17 trying to get out of that situation.
Well, he put all that effort into the speed of the vehicle.
After about, yeah, he has one of those treadmill machines, like the Flintstones kind of.
Kind of a Flintstones car.
Yeah. After about 30 seconds of saying the name, after about 30 seconds of saying the name of this creature, I see the same figure on the side of the road following me with its head and glowing eyes. I proceed to hyperventilate and freak out more until he calms me down and tells me to get the out of there. I started looking away to make a U-turn, but I couldn't find any place. At this point, I drive another 15 minutes and I can find somewhere to turn around without stopping. I start to slow down and U-turn before I hear this ear-splitting screaming sound from my window before I gun it back in the direction that I came. I start freaking out more, telling my friend everything that was happening before I started getting a sinking feeling in my stomach that something was watching me. I start to look all over the empty roads and see nothing. Then all of my signal goes out again, and I hear the screaming sound and see a kind of humanoid body in the fetal position on the side of the road. Did you run it over?
Yeah, did you go as fast as you could?
Listen, those unnameable creatures are an endangered species, and what you did is a felony.
Yike.
I then see its head look up and stare at me directly. I gun it again and can't get the goosebumps and sinking feeling to stop. I continue trying to contact.
This person stopped for a body on the road and then went, no.
The body lifted its head up and stared at him. You know what? This is a job for the feds.
Yeah, I can bail on this.
I end up trying to calm myself down by listening to my Kanye CD.
Okay.
And then I hear something tapping on my sunroof. I don't know how I knew, but something wanted me to open the sunroof cover and look through.
Dang.
I prevailed.
It was a person that you left on the road that somehow
needed your assistance.
Got onto your car.
It was like, yo, let me in. I prevailed and never looked, but never lost the sinking feeling that it was there. I would hear the tapping sound on and off rhythmically, kind of like drums, for about an hour until I reached a small town. At this point, I got in a hold of my friend and puked in my car. I'm just trying to get back as fast as possible, and he's telling me to describe Elden Ring lore to him to make me calm down.
What?
That can't be good.
Sure. Listen, just calm down. Go back to your zero place or your center place.
Tell me how America and Radagon are the same person again.
After about an hour of paranoia, I stop crying and freaking out. I drive as fast as possible to get home, but I can't shake the feeling that they're still on me. I locked all my windows and doors, but I'm still shaking like crazy, and I don't know what to do, and I'm freaking out.
It's on me. I feel like it's on me.
And that does it for this week's segment of Spooktober
Theater.
Paranormal Tales of Horror.
Very spooky. Guys, thank you for joining us on another episode of Werewolf Radar. We had a lot of fun. I hope you had a lot of fun. And now it's time to go back to the regular world, where it's not as much fun. But you can make it fun.
by listening to Werewolf Radar.
Listening to Werewolf Radar, becoming a Patreon if you want to help us support the show. You can check us out on Twitch. You can check us out on Threads. We're everywhere, baby. We're everywhere you want to be, Jack. So tell your friends, tell your family, give us 5 stars.
You don't want us to be.
Absolutely.
We like tapping on top of your sunroof. That was Werewolf Radar the whole time.
We were doing that. Yep. Sorry about that.
But you did see a horrifying creature before.
That's unrelated. Yes.
Yeah.
That does it for this particular episode of Werewolf Radar. On the count of 3, please join me in our special sign-off line that we do every week. Just for you. Now, it's a little bit for us. On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, punch the Spaceman Joe.